When designing the PGA Tour studios, we had this unique opportunity of really stopping and looking at all the technology we use and how we can support our players and our fans better and show our events in new and innovative ways.
We chose Hawkeye from a replay perspective from a couple of reasons. The integration with ShotLink, our scoring system, as well as the quick and easy access to the content.
It's just so fundamentally different. We know now that it's just better.
One of the operators stopped by and he said, you know, thanks for doing this. I was wrong. This is actually amazing. You know, it's really allowing us to work as a team, and it really revolutionized how we operate.
If there was a camera on this player, we have it. Missing a shot is just not a thing anymore.
Hey guys, my name is Doug Price. I'm the global head of broadcast solutions for Hawkeye, part of the Sony business. I want to introduce our guest panelist today. In 2016, he convinced his bosses in the UK to trust him to build a business in the US without having any employees, no offices, no location, and not even a bank. He did so and was successful for 7 years, profitable in all 7, which led him to his current gig, which is the VP of PGA Tour Studios, Mr. Andrew Wisniewski. Andrew. Today we're going to talk about how the PGA Tour is covering sports utilizing Sony, obviously HawkREPLAY and HawkNEST. Oh. So first, Andrew, thanks for joining.
Happy to be here.
Let's talk about this new PGA Tour facility. What made you want to build a new facility? What was the rationale behind it? And kind of talk to me about how it all came together.
Sure, so it's a great question, because before we built the studios, we had a facility in St. Augustine, but that facility was built in 1997. Oh. So even though it doesn't feel like such a long time ago, but that's before internet and mobile phones for most people. So when the team moved into that building, the social media team was one person, right? And obviously over the last 20 years, the popularity of the sport exploded. PGA Tour started to create more content. And if you fast forward to around 2020, we actually had a whole fleet of trucks parked in the car park outside of the building, producing all of our ESPN shows. So there was more content being created outside of the building than in the building. So that's when the leadership team decided that it's time to create a space where we can really serve the fans better, do things like the world feed, you know, elevate the coverage, and get ready for the next round of rights negotiations.
Nice. I think, if I'm correctly, you brought us a video that is pretty cool that kind of showcases just how big this 165,000 square foot facility is. So if we want to play that video, I believe we can show you what it looks like.
Cart path only.
Like video killed the radio star.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, Studio 1B, we're rehearsing.
Scotty Scheffler going for a 4th straight Player of the Year.
2025 will be a true test.
Cable goes here.
Jay, they're testing cameras here in Studio 1A.
We'll have to move all the cameras back and make sure the return monitors are routed correctly.
The tally light is good. Have you guys watched Scotty 24 yet? Yeah. Pretty good.
that's good. Picture's locked.
That is better than most. Better than most.
Wait a second. I think he just made that.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
I might be biased, but it's a lovely facility.
It is. Now, one of the things that I think you can't really see it in this video, but what I thought was really cool when I got my first tour of it that you guys provided to us from the Hawkeye team, is there's actually 20% of this building you've not touched. You've literally left it to be whatever it needs to be. So what was the rationale behind saving 20% of the building and not building it completely out?
Absolutely. So the building is 165,000 square foot. So the best way to describe it is if you imagine a soccer or roughly football pitch, that's one floor, and we have 3 floors total, right? So it's a pretty massive facility. The reason why around 20 to 25% of it is for future growth is, if you think about our trajectory, where we came from and where we're going, we added a world feed recently. We're looking always at new and cool technology and how we can support our fans better. Plus looking at potentially working with other sports in the building. So having that 20 to 25% cushion will allow us to keep growing and keep serving our fans better. And just an example, just a couple of months ago, we already built out one of those rooms. So it's slowly happening. But it's really about the long-term vision, about where we are today, about the next round of rides, and what else we can use this facility for.
And I think it's important because, again, most people that I work with, they look at the today, not the future. And you guys have been looking at the future for a while now. So let's talk about the facility itself, right? So again, beautiful campus. There's 2 buildings, one administrative, one strictly for the broadcast and the media side of things. When you set out to build this building, you were dead set on doing 2110, moving away from the building previously, which was 99. So the STI, which is everybody's favorite because it works. But then we moved to 2110. What was the rationale? What was the thinking in moving to a 2110 environment?
Absolutely. I mean, we were in a great position of, this is a greenfield facility. It wasn't a refurb. Everything was new. And we evaluated all different technologies. But on this scale, to be able to do what we wanted to do and be able to have any control room, talk to any audio room, talk to any studio, have everything integrated and ready for future growth, like nothing else can do that, right? If you think about it, our backbone is 400 gigabit switch network, and that allows us to keep adding 100 gig switches and leaves and so on to add new areas. And all together, if we look at our main equipment room, CR, and throughout the building, that's around 500 network switches. So it's a very large network, but it works well.
How many control rooms total are you responsible for in just this building right here?
It is 8 control rooms, 8 audio rooms. We have 7 studios, a dedicated replay room, 2,000 edit suites, flex rooms, quite a few.
Wow. And then from a feed standpoint, obviously all the feeds are being, from every tournament, come directly to your facility. How many feeds are we talking compared to the old facility?
Sure. So for some of you who might not know how we do it, the way the studios operate is in a Remy model. So we have trucks on site called SS Tour, largest fleet of trucks in the world. And our partners, CBS, NBC, Golf Channel, do their productions on site. For us, we bring all of the feeds back to the building and produce everything on site. The number of feeds vary from event to event, somewhere in the region of 60 on average. Players can see many more, some smaller events can see less. But obviously, PGA Tour is just one of the tours we cover. We also have the Corn Ferry Tour. We have the Champions Tour. We do sometimes second alternate event. So you're looking at well over 100 feeds coming into the building.
Yeah, and I think that's probably really important. I know you really can't tell from some of these pictures of the replay room, but the way you're set up is you can have literally all three of your events going simultaneously, from the main PGA to the Korn Ferry to the Champs Tour and the World Feed, all simultaneously doing an event from that one replay room.
That's correct. So we have weeks in the year where all 8 control rooms, all 7 studios are in use, and every single replay station is in use as well. Because if you think about it, between serving our clients such as ESPN and our domestic, so our international clients, we broadcast to around 220 countries.
Wow.
With a world feed. If you add all of that with on the range and betting shows, it's some weeks we're full.
Nice. Well, obviously, I'm a little bit excited about talking about your replay and why you chose the replay. So, for those obviously in here that aren't familiar with Hawkeye, we have a full 16-channel replay solution. You guys are using a few of those. I think there's 30 total systems just in the one room, plus others throughout the building. What chose you to go down the Hawkeye path?
Sure, it's a great question, and I guess my background is a little unique because I started as an engineer working with the replay operators week in, week out, so I really understand what their needs are. And then obviously my last job that I touched on commercial, financials, P&L management, so I was able to look at the needs of both the business, the operators, how we can elevate the product, and we really went and spoke to every vendor out there. And the Hawkeye system was by far the best system for us to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish.
Were there certain aspects of what we do compared to legacy type systems that really just kind of either put us over the top or made you relook at what we are capable of doing in terms of data or some of the other third-party tools that are used within your facility? I know that was kind of mentioned in the video, but maybe you can expand on why those things were important to what you guys did.
Absolutely. So golf is very different from most other sports to cover, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, even when you do a huge event such as Super Bowl and you might have 150 cameras there, the vast majority of them are pointing roughly in one direction, right? Action happens only in one place, right? Golf is very different. You might have, 10, 20, 30 groups out there at any given time, and you really have to be across everything, and you have to choose what to show and when to show it, and what story to highlight, what story you can skip. So if you think about it, the replay operators are really much more a technical director, TD, or a visions mixer, and a director in one than on most other sports, because they don't only provide replays, they actually provide whole elements of the show. If you think about it, the director says, okay, next we're gonna go to show Rory McIlroy on the first. They cut to that replay, and the rest, we're going to this camera, to that camera, back to this camera, is done in the replay. So for us, what was very important is that for the operators, the system was a black box, meaning they're able to access all of the feeds. They don't have to worry what server is recording what. To them, it's a great timing actually. To them, they create layouts. So a good example would be if somebody's following a group on the first tee, right? Yep. They load a layout, which is like a multi-viewer layout, and that shows them only what they need to see. And that way they can really stay focused and capture all of the good angles. And then when the group moves to the second tee, right, they just load a different layout. If I ask an operator, hey, $1,000, which servers are recording that? They don't know, because to them it's one transparent system, right?
Right. So, talking about operators, and we know how finicky operators can be about the tools that they use, right? So you're moving from something they've used for 25 years, they're comfortable, they don't think about it, to some new technology. That couldn't have been an easy conversation, I would imagine. I know in our conversations we had with a few of them, they were concerned, but talk to me about some of the conversations that they either brought to you or you had with them about why we're moving, what this is going to bring to the storytelling capabilities, and then some of that feedback that you got after the first few months.
Absolutely. I mean, for anybody who changed their main system, whether it is graphic, replay, switchers, cameras, there's always, workflows that you have built. Yep. There's, people are very comfortable with what they know. But again, for us, in order to elevate our shows, in order to elevate our players, we knew that we can do more and deliver better content using this system. So it was just a matter of bringing the operators in on the front end. And like one day you guys shipped us the controller. Like the system wasn't fully built out, but the controller was there. So they were able to test, like touch it and go, okay, this could work, right? And was there a lot of hard questions at the start? For sure. Because obviously, as you said, some of the guys and girls working with us have used one system for 25 years. But I think the minute the operators use it for the first time, the penny drops. They have access to everything. It's all very intuitive. And actually, there's a great story. There's one very, very good, very, very experienced operator who is a colleague of mine. And I think he was one of the person that kind of pushed the hardest against going in that direction. And what was very, very, very nice of him is 3 or 4 months into the productions, he actually stopped by in my office and said, "Hey, I'm sorry we gave you so much hard time. This is amazing. This is life-changing," right? So again, like we didn't go with this system because of like financials, or it was because it serves us what we need to do, plus shuttling integration, data integration, so on and so forth.
So obviously, that was last year. Year one of this beautiful building, right? No, you don't go into any building that's brand new and not have some quirks or things to work through. I know we worked through several things within the facility. What was that first year like as a whole, but obviously working with my team and the Hawkeye team from the development of solution to the service of the solution to just the overall operations? Kind of give the audience a little bit of an understanding of what it was like to move to a Hawkeye solution.
Absolutely. So, for us, it was a major change, and we were, I think, the first client using the system on that scale. Mm-hmm. So going into it, we fully expected some teething issues, because you're changing everything from how people work to workflows to integration with other systems, with data and all of that. So obviously, the first few months were busy. We're working hard with you guys to make sure that everything gets done. But I mean, we made error every day. We delivered a better product than in the previous year. And I think one of the most rewarding things was seeing how fast operators took to it. Exactly. Once they understood it, that we're not doing it to make their life harder. Actually, their lives are easier now. So it's been a great journey. And just to give you an idea why operators took to it so fast, I mean, the UI is very intuitive, but also with our previous system, the operators had to cut the shots on the way in using a router. So it was constant. Whether you were going to be taken to error or not, it was constant work. Whereas now, they can actually focus on finding quality shots. If somebody says, "Hey, 5 minutes ago something fun happened," they don't have to worry about, "Oh, was I across the right camera?" They know that we're recording everything at all times, because the size of the system. So we're currently at 176 inputs, and we can support 22 operators simultaneously. So no, 2025 was a good year.
And this year, not only did you add to those feeds, you went from 146 to 176, as you just said. You went from 20 operators to 22 operators. You also added some international folks who are literally using servers in your facility in another country.
That is correct. So one of our media partners in the UK, Sky Sports, we've worked with them on how can we help them elevate their coverage, give them access to more and better content. And the result of it is we added another server to our server farm, which sits in our studios, is part of the big black box capturing all of the camera angles. And the operators are in the UK. So Sky has 2 operators at some of the at the shows or during shows, and they have access to everything we have access to. And again, it's about working with our clients, partners, to give them the tools they need to really elevate the coverage. Because if you think about it, we now have a wonderful world feed which focuses on the needs of our international partners, but which is a great step up. But offering Sky this solution means if there is something happening in the UK with Rory or somebody else, and they really want to highlight that, everybody wants to know how he's doing, they could quite literally just follow him the whole day if they wanted to.
Which is awesome, by the way. So obviously, since this news broke that we were kind of replacing previous technology, we were the replay of choice, we at Hawkeye have had a lot of people come up and say, hey, we want to do what the PGA is doing. We want that centralized workflow. What do you tell people who are looking to do what you did? Maybe not in a new building, but in general, moving to that centralized workflow. What advice can you give as a head of engineering, the pitfalls, the practicalities, the things that will make a difference in moving to this type of centralized workflow and using somebody like a Hawkeye to do that?
That's a great question. If you think about it, it is a major undertaking, whether you're building a new facility or just changing one of your systems. But I think involving all of your internal stakeholders early, and that's operators, the finance team, because the CapEx and OpEx might work totally differently, right? Your production team, and kind of being very transparent with them. Like, did we have teething issues? Sure, but we had a roadmap of, okay, we were going to fix this next week, that thing the following week, so on and so forth. So every stakeholder was kept in the loop at all times. And if we knew that the production team really wanted to do something and we weren't able to do it, again, we would tell them, hey, next month, that's when we can deliver that, right? But I think it's really about keeping everybody in the loop, testing, right? Seeing what you can do. And involving, even like for us, we involve a lot of the freelance operators, and they provided a lot of inputs, because at the end of the day, I understand the technology well. I've worked with the replay operators for decades, but nobody understands their needs quite as well as they do, right? Correct. Sometimes it's just moving a menu here or changing what a button does, and it's a life-changing experience for them because suddenly they skip 7 steps, right, and go to 2, right? And I think you need the support of your leadership team as well, because I think some of you may remember, I think in the 80s, there was a commercial about IBM. Like, nobody ever got fired for buying IBM, right? So it's to do with, you need to have the buy-in of everybody, including the leadership team, because if things go a little bit wrong, they understand that ultimately we are, it's a long-term vision. We are elevating the coverage, but we need everybody's support to make sure that we can do that.
And I think it's probably key to say, for at least from my point of view, is you just weren't buying a box. You were buying into a partnership. We were partnering with you, making sure that the solution worked. From day one, we continued to work with it. We're talking years in advance. We're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. So you finished up year 1. Obviously, we're kind of a quarter way through year 2, right? We had the players. We just had the Masters. What's next for the PGA Tour, as far as your department goes?
Sure, it's just fine-tuning how we operate. Year 1 in a brand new facility is all about stabilizing, making sure we stay on air, making sure we can deliver what we need. Year 2 is really moving to optimizing. Okay, we know we can do it, but how can we do it more efficient? How we can do it better? How we can communicate better with our clients? And for us, how we can use the data we already have. PGA Tour is also a very large technology company, right? We have live productions, we have golf technologies, we have data analytics, and really, how do we bring all of those groups together and keep elevating how we do things? And for example, last year we were already using the shuttling data with the system, so the players, the operators could quite literally in their menu if they were looking for a specific shot or a specific player, they could go and put the player name, round, and hole, and that would bring up the video of that person, the queued up after a second, right? Like 5 seconds before a tee shot, for example. So it's really doing that, and also seeing what else the studios can become, right? Whether it is elevating the productions we do currently, working with new clients, both in sports and outside of sport, and really seeing, how far we can take it.
Awesome. Well, again, Andrew, I could not thank you enough for coming out and spending some time with us here. For those of you who are not familiar with what we are and how we're doing it, we are right over here right behind reception. Please come by, get a demo, ask some questions. Tech team is over there. They can certainly help answer any questions you have. And if you have questions for Wiz, we'll stick around after the show and answer some questions. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.